Hi guys, I was going to say good morning, but it's now noon. We have like everybody from the eDesign Tribe team on right now. So you guys get to say hi to everybody. We have Sarah Durnay here, Director of 3D Modeling. Annalie and Sarah are both your designer support for the rendering program. And Annalie and Sarah are going to do the presentation today for you guys on intermediate rendering. So next month we'll go back to the basics. We like to alternate back and forth. This is recorded and you can watch it in the playlist with all the training videos. That's where we're going to upload it after we edit it a little bit, just because didn't realize we were talking this whole time in the beginning and it was recording. So I'm going to have to cut it a little bit, but then we'll get it out to you guys later. So if you have any questions, go ahead and just make sure you're muted on your microphone. And then when you do have questions, you can unlock, you can type them in the chat here in the bottom. And I believe Sarah's probably going to be watching, or sorry, Lauren. So many names. Lauren's going to be watching the chat for that. I have some other stuff that I'll be doing behind the scenes over here, but you guys are ready to go. So thank you. Thank you guys so much for being here. This will be fun.
All right, I am gonna say good morning because it's 9 a.m. where I'm at, so it is morning time here. All right, guys, so we are just gonna kind of dig in like we do every time. And Annalie, do we want to start inside or outside?
Well, let's see. I don't know.
Let's start outside then.
Let's start outside. Okay. Can y'all hear me okay? Let me move my microphone.
Yeah.
Y'all can hear me? All right. Okay. So as this is the intermediate this month, I'm not going to start from scratch with a plan. So I've got one that I've gotten started already so that we can move straight into the actual outdoor part. So let me see. Here it is. Okay, so even if you're doing the outdoors part, you still, even if you're just doing partially part of the outdoors, you still have to have something built for it to save as a project. So you have to have something, 4 walls connected, or else it won't save your project at all. So even if you're literally only doing the outside, you have to do something. So, but what I'm showing you here is.
Before, and I'm not necessarily promoting this off, but you acquire Orbis and it is for.
Sorry. So I've just built this basic little square of a house, and I'm going to do the outside for you. I'm going to put a roof on it. So we have a training video in the playlist on how to build a roof in the platform. You go into construction mode and you can build it in there. I'm not going to go through that today because it is very time consuming to do that. And you can build a simple roof there. There's issues with that we've talked about otherwise. My best recommendation is to import it. So if you build it in SketchUp or you build it in Chief or whatever program you're using, build it elsewhere and import it, especially if it's anything complicated or you've got, trims or anything like that. Like you can do a very simple one in the platform, but that's, I'm going to show you really best practices for this is to import the roof. So I have already imported this one to show you guys today. So I built this roof. I built this in Chief actually, and then I don't know why it's giving me that. I built this in Chief and then imported it here to the platform for you guys. And there's I've tried it a couple of different ways. And I tried it as a ceiling, which makes it disappear when you want to look down at the floor plan, but it also makes it disappear when you're trying to work on the outside. So I actually do it as just a floor object, and then you can hide it. So anytime you need to not look at it, you just go here. You just go here and you hide it, and then it hides away. And then you can go right back here and show hidden products. Oh, I already had one imported because I already had it hidden. So I'm just going to delete this one that I just dropped in. So that's what I feel is the best way to do the roof for the exterior. And as we're working on the exterior, so usually when we're working on the insides, it has this amazing feature that hides the walls that are in the foreground so that you can see the inside of your room and see that changes as you turn. But when you're working on the outside, you probably don't want that. So you want to go over here to view and turn on your walls. And then you can see the outside of everything. So I just made this like super basic and simple so that we could kind of move through all of this quickly. So that's my little bit on roofs. And so was there any questions about roofs or anything so far? Okay.
None so far, but I think, Annalie, we probably at some point should whip up a video on how to create a simple roof in the free version of SketchUp. So that's something I'll add to my list.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to, are there any roofs already in the platform?
No, there's nothing like this. No, there's lots of ceilings. There's a thing that I saw earlier.
Essentially, the platform's really designed to do interiors. We're forcing it to do something it doesn't really want to do. So, and both Annalie and I have been working in like the 3D realm for a long time. And it's like, if there's a workaround and to force something to do something that we know it can do, we'll figure it out. So we're just providing you guys the tools to really manipulate and get the most out of this platform, even though it doesn't want to do it.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you, Sarah. Okay, so there's a couple of ways to address the outside around your space. So let me go back to 2D. So one way to do it, if you wanted to add like a porch, I'm gonna go ahead and hide my roof for now so that we can see the floor plan. So if you wanted like a patio area, you would draw your walls. You guys, I'm not using any real measurements here. I'm just doing it like quickly. And then you would select that room and you call it a terrace. Where's terrace? There's terrace. Terrace, and you can see here in the 3D view. Terrace takes the ceiling off of it, which you can't see here yet. But if you call it a terrace, that takes the ceiling off and that changes the floor. That makes it into it tells it it's an outdoor space. And then what you can do is you can take all of these exterior walls here, and if you make them dwarf, that pulls them down and that lets you adjust the height. So if you didn't want any walls, if you just wanted it to be like a patio or a porch with no walls, you can bring those heights all the way down to 0 and they go away.
And then for a little like railing cheat, if you want to do a glass railing, you can lower that wall to your desired height and then make it 1 inch thick and apply glass material to it.
Yeah. So we could actually go ahead and do that. So I'll do that with that wall. I'll make this one 0, and then we can make this one and then Sarah, I might be doing something out of my own realm. Is there glass in the, do you do that in material and wall editor then?
No, I just import and create my own. So I just import a white.
I have done that too, yeah.
A white image and I set it as glass, so.
Yeah, okay. So I don't have one of those imported right now, so I'm not gonna do that then. But that's how you do it. I'm gonna set that to 0. And so if I'll go back to the bigger 3D view. So then that creates a little patio area for you there. And so you can also do that if you wanted to build the rest of the like grass area, you can do that with that as well, but you don't necessarily have to. You can just dress the outside of this with the grass and other things. But but let me show you that. If you wanted to make this outdoor area grass, there is a grass material there is a grass material, but it doesn't look as realistic. It does look pretty flat when it's rendered. It's not the best.
And that's the one that you used in the training 720, right? That was the...
So what I did in that one is I created let me go back to 2D. I created a large room around this and set that all to terrace, and then set that to grass as well. And then I used an actual grass model around the perimeter. So the close-up looked more realistic, but then the background, it had an actual perimeter, which is something you want to think about when you go into your render window, is how things are looking. So that's one of the reasons Sarah and I always suggest doing test renders all the time, because you want to see what's important in front of the camera and dress everything to the camera. So sometimes you need that extra space back there to kind of hide the background image or make it look realistic so that it doesn't look like it's floating in space, something like that.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll just do that then. I'll just do that on here as well to show this. So if you have your plot of land or whatever, I would make that into a terrace as well, and make all the walls. I always hit the space bar, you guys, sorry. Wrong key commands. I always mix up my key commands between programs. So that takes the ceiling off of that, and then I can make all of these dwarf to 0 as well. And
okay,
then,
so I'm going to answer a question real quick.
Okay, great.
Okay, so time stamping these videos, we try to keep them short so we don't have to do that, and jumping around and finding just what you need is great, but sometimes you need to watch the whole thing. And I found that a lot of times there are so many missed answers and a lot of questions that we receive because nobody's watching anything in its entirety. So watch all of it, learn all of it, and it'll work out better for you than if we time stamped, if that makes sense, because people will miss a lot of steps.
Did that get it?
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the number one tips that I will give you for working in this platform is, when you find something that you like, save it to your favorites. If it's a material or whatever, because sometimes they've renamed stuff, they've moved stuff around, or sometimes they've even deleted some models that they have found that for some reason they don't want to keep. But if you save it to your favorites, it's still there and you can still use it. And also you can find it. So if they've moved it around or changed the name, and you don't have to spend forever searching for it. Like, I don't even know, I searched for grass, the word grass, just the other day, and this didn't even come up, but I have it saved in my favorites. So I can just scroll through my favorites and find it every time.
Yeah. And you can organize your favorites too.
You can. Mine is very unorganized. Mine is just all dumped in there, but you can. It does.
Annalee, will you show them really quick just how to show something to their favorites?
Yes. So it does give you folders here, and you can make new folders and stuff. So let me go back to 3D view. So you just select the item that you like, and then this little star right there, you just check the little star. That's literally it. And it saves it here into, and it does categorize some of them. And then you can make your own folders and you can categorize stuff.
And then also, if you're scrolling through and you're looking for a model, but you see something, you're like, oh, I really like this. I don't need it for this project, but I'll probably want to come back to it. You can just go and hit the star again.
Right. You can just do it from here. There's a little star. Sorry, all my pop-ups. There's a little star. There's a little star that pops up there and you can just tick that too. So I do that all the time if I'm looking for something else and then, ooh, that's a great thing I might want for another project. Then yeah, you can just save it and then it goes into your project files. And then, you know, I have stuff saved and also if you have uploaded your own models and you've started to run out of model space and you need to delete something, save it to your favorites and then it's still going to be there. So you don't have to re-upload it again later. So saving to favorites is like one of my favorite things. Like it's a top tip. Okay, so I just made that outdoor area into a terrace and added the grass texture to it. And so I'm just gonna, let me see, I'm gonna unhide. Anything you have hidden is also will be hidden when you go to the rendering window. So that's another trick if you're trying to render a space in different phases or whatever, you can just hide stuff. But I'm going to go over here to the render window to kind of see what it's looking like and tell you guys what I'm talking, show you guys what I'm talking. I can't speak apparently today. So when you are doing an exterior, you cannot use any of these regular interior lighting setups that you normally use. Like I alternate between natural daylight and fresh for everything, but you cannot use any of these for your exteriors. They will not work. They will look terrible. You have to use this one, which is actually called outdoor. And I don't know why today it is now in Chinese.
I saw that yesterday.
What's that?
I saw that as well yesterday. I was like, oh.
So, you know, these are the things when you work with a web-based software, it's constantly updated every day, which is great because you never have to wait for, an upgrade. But then there's interesting things every time you log in. You never know what you're going to see. Mm-hmm. So anyway, this is the outdoor one. But you absolutely have to use this one to outdoor. I have tried to use these and make adjustments. They don't work. They just don't work. You have to use that one and it works great. So, and then you can choose your background here. They've got a plain one and then different backgrounds that you can use. But you can see that depending on your model, it could look like it's floating in space. So you may want this outdoor, you may want this kind of land around it. You may not. Depends on what you're doing and kind of what background.
And do you want to show them how they can position the background as well, how they can rotate?
Right. So when you click on the background, let me choose this one that has some different stuff. If you hover here, this little menu pops up and then you can change the orientation of your background. And this will change in every camera. This will be the same in every camera position you use. So once if you rotate it this way and then you do a different camera angle, it's going to show the other view. Like the background won't turn with the camera. So once you set it, it changes per, like if you're looking out different windows or whatever. Okay, so I like to come over straight away into the render window to see what my camera angle is going to look like, because that's what we're doing this for. The whole purpose of this is to create gorgeous renderings. So I set up my cameras straight away in the beginning of a project so I know exactly what I'm looking at, and I can dress everything to the camera and make it how I want it. So I always come over first initially and set a camera angle. So then I can kind of do test renders and I can come and check and see how it's looking. So I'm just going to save that. And let's see, I've got the lighting selected and I'll just set it to a quick test render and then we'll come back and look at that in a minute, because you never know how long that's going to take. It could be a few seconds, it could be a few minutes. I mean, it's fast, but still. Okay. So what's next, Sarah?
Do you guys, let's go over some, if anybody has any questions on exteriors while we're waiting for that. you guys can go ahead and unmute yourself right now. No? Okay. So I think from here we will like check your render and see how that looks, and then we can move inside and work on lighting.
Okay. Okay. It's still rendering. Oh, there it goes. No, gallery. So let's see. So here's the one we just did. And you can see the lighting outside. I mean, it's set up pretty perfectly. You can go in, and we're going to go over lighting next. So we can talk about how to make adjustments here. But you can see how that all kind of set up. And I always do a test render as opposed to, this question came up in the group yesterday about doing the previews. And I don't even bother with the previews because they don't save. When you do it, you can do a test render. You have unlimited test renders, or you have unlimited SD renders. So, you know, this way you have it and you can refer back. So this is one I had done earlier before you guys came on to check.
Annalie, let's go back one step and put in like a blue sky background and then one of the environments so that we can show them if they have a panoramic view of a unique space, how they would do that.
Yes. So over here in the library, in the outdoors, they have this, which is an environment. So these are just kind of like billboards that's set up behind wherever you want, behind your scene. So then you just place that, and then you can adjust it to your camera or however you're going to work it. And they have scenes here if you wanted to use any of those. But if you are working with a specific area or space or neighborhood, or you have an exterior photo, all you have to do is go to the material editor and you can change this image.
And you just upload your own image. And some of these don't resize very well. Like some of them aren't big enough. For any of our SketchUp users, this is something that you can build in SketchUp and import in for your background.
Mm-hmm. I've also used, I don't have any images in my library right now to switch it out for. So, but you just, okay. I mean, literally you can, make it whatever you want it to be. But also what I've done before too is use multiple ones. Mm-hmm. So to make the space. The thing you do have to remember is that it will block the sunlight. It is an object. And so you do have to make adjustments for that. What's that?
Be strategic about your placement.
Yes. And then maybe adjust the sun settings when you get over there to see. So it's definitely a more advanced trick, but it's not difficult. It's really not. Okay, I'm just going to delete that out for now. And then I'll just show you very quickly before we move on to the interior. So for the exterior, to do the rest of the exterior, I have either uploaded my own models. So I have like various like this was something from SketchUp that I imported, and they also have somewhere in the public library, they have moved stuff around like I mentioned earlier, and I'm not sure where they are now. But they do have exterior, they do have grass. I have it saved in my favorites, and sorry, I'm not organized.
And they have some hedges, they've got.
Yeah, so all of this stuff, let's see, not that pergola, but all of this stuff is from the public library. So there's these grass squares. And what I did was I took the squares and made them into all together, and they may come in a strip like this, but then I just grouped them together and saved it to my favorites. So I can just place all this grass, around wherever. And this grass is this is the like actual 3-dimensional realistic looking grass. And then there's, you know, they have trees and shrubs and some little landscapey things. I'm just dropping them in here for you guys to kind of see. They have little patches of grass. So they have some rocks. There's all sorts of stuff in there that you can use to create your outdoor space. And if you can't find any of these, if they're not in the library, you can't find them, let me know and I can share those to you guys. Okay. Was there another question?
For outdoor patios, tile size. Okay, it looks like Lauren's got all the questions.
Okay, good.
Okay. All right, let's jump into some lighting.
Okay. I'm going to run another test render of this really quick, just so we can see what that looks like, but we don't have to wait for that. Okay. So I'm going to go out of this project and I'm going to go into this project. So this is this is actually Sarah's project that she shared to me, so we could use for this. And so this is new to me. I have not worked in this project, so we talked about doing it this way so we could go through the full process. I have no idea what the lighting is going to look like in here, and we're going to go through the whole process totally from scratch. Okay, I'm just going to drink water. Okay, so what have we got, Sarah? We've got an entryway and we've got like a living room.
Yep.
All right, so all of the lighting happens in render mode. You don't, well, the lighting setup happens over here. Sarah, do you have light fixtures? You've got one here. Okay, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna add some light fixtures, because some of the lighting does happen over here.
Yeah. Yeah, so the way some of the lighting works, and it typically seems to be more for suspended or ceiling lights, is that the platform says, oh, this is a light source, I'm gonna create a light here.
Yes. So yes.
But if you don't add lights, it will still light your space.
Yes, it will. And I'll light this space and then we can go over here and we'll into one of the other rooms and I won't light that. And so we can look at that too and see what it does. So I'll just drop some of these just basic kind of can lights. And here's the cool thing also that this does, it'll line them up for you. Like it shows you the little yellow, if you move it, so you can line everything up, which is super handy.
Yes.
If I can do it. There we go. All right, and then you've got a couple of chandeliers there. Let's see, I'll just put one more in the middle of the room. There we go. Okay, so now you can see I've got those little can lights there. And then Sarah's got the two lights over the island. All right, so to set up the lighting in here, you're gonna wanna pick one of these basic presets that they've got. So I alternate between natural daylight and fresh, depending on the space. Fresh is usually cooler and brighter, and the natural daylight is warmer and it's not quite as bright. So it depends on the mood. So what I suggest you do is a test render in both, or even any of the others that I suggest really play around with all of them. Build yourself a little test space that's not a real project and render it in every single different one so you can see what they look like.
And one thing that I found that if you have a space that is furnished with warm furnishings, like let's say you have a very like cherry wood floor, the natural daylight will throw too much of that warm light around and it just feels kind of yucky. So then I would use fresh for that. So I kind of have a little bit of a strategy just based off of how the space is furnished on what setting I go with.
Yeah, same. Yeah, same for me. It totally, And, you know, it's really the same as in your real space that you're building. You know, what kind of lighting are you specifying for that space? And then how a photographer would light the space as well. So you know, you have to look at your materials and that it's very much parallel to, you know, real life lighting. So I just am running a test on natural, and I'm going to run a test on fresh, just so we can see the difference. And when you choose different ones, it'll change the background for you sometimes too. So make sure you, whatever background you pick is, you know, it picks for you. See what if I change it, it changes it to the forest and that one. So check that, because I've done that before too. Like, oops, have to re-render.
Yeah.
Because it's the wrong background. So we'll see which one of those we like better when they finish. Okay, so what it's going to do, it's going to set up a sun for you somewhere. And then it's also going to, like Sarah said, it's going to recognize these pieces as light fixtures, and it's going to add a light source for that. Now, this one, Sarah, was this from the library, or did you upload this one?
It's from the library.
So then it will probably recognize that one. If you upload a light fixture, it may not. If it's a model that you've uploaded, it may not, but you can add that easily, and we'll show you how to do that. So it should recognize that one. All right, so this was the natural daylight. And you can see I did nothing. I did nothing customized whatsoever. The program just did this all by itself. So that's one of the main reasons I say just run a test render first and see how it looks. You may not need to do anything custom whatsoever. For this, I mean, it looks gorgeous. And this is not even a 4K or anything. So, you know, and you can see where the sun's coming in. I mean, I don't know if I would even want to change anything. I'm going to show you how to do it, but you know, you don't necessarily have to. I mean, lighting, I know there's been a lot of people struggling with the lighting, and really it doesn't have to be.
And I think, Annalie, a lot of that comes in when they do start adding like track lighting or things like that, and they end up with a hot spot.
Yes.
You know, where it's just intense lighting on one part of your wall. So maybe we can show what happens when you delete the light sources from the can lights.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that. And then I'll turn one way up, so it'll show what happens if we have too much and how to fix that.
Yeah.
And so here's a little tip too. Down here, it will show you what setting you used. So if you don't remember, like, oh, I like this one, but I don't remember what I did. So this was the natural daylight here on this one. And then here is the fresh. And you see it's much cooler. The color temperature on this one it's a very different vibe. So, you know, it does depend on your materials and your space, but also the feeling that you're trying to achieve with your rendering, because sometimes we want different feeling from it, and we want to, you know, show that. So, you know, just depends on the feeling that you're trying to do, and then, you know, how you want your space to look. So that's the fresh, and that's the natural daylight. I think the natural daylight looks better for this one, so I think that's what we'll go with. So I'm going to go out of the gallery, and we'll go back to the natural daylight. Okay, so if you want to customize this, if you don't like something the way that it is, let me see. Should I go add another light, Sarah, or?
Actually, yeah. Why don't you find some like the track lightings, the track lights, and put that so it's like shining onto the fireplace.
Okay.
And I think we could probably easily recreate some hot spots. So.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Maybe I'll do a bigger one. This one with more lights. Yeah, okay. And that should be throwing light all over the place. How's that one,
Yeah.
Sarah? Is that good?
It's going to be crazy. So it'll be
Yeah, that's going to throw light everywhere. So we'll see how that does. Okay. So I'm in natural daylight. So I'll start a test render on that to see how that's going to do on its own. And then I'm going to take you into the customizing window and show you what that looks like. So right here, you click customize, and then it pops up, and then these are actually all the different presets. And you choose the preset here that you've decided that you like, and which is the natural daylight, the one that we like. And it brings you over here into the customize. And look, Sarah, it didn't recognize those at all.
I didn't recognize any of them. Yeah.
So this is exactly what we are trying to show you guys. So like these little can lights, it added a light to it. So these are light fixtures that you can add or move, or let's see. Select, if it'll select. Why won't it select? So, okay, something was going weird earlier today and it wouldn't let me do stuff. So hopefully that's not happening now. Why isn't it letting me select? There we go. I don't know why it wasn't letting me select things. What's happening?
Try
you guys,
it.
What's that? Yeah, 2D. It's actually easier to move things left, right in 2D. But yeah, so we added those track lights. It did not recognize those as lights for some reason at all.
Yeah.
I wonder if it was because I already ran a test render, but it should have still picked those up, I would have thought.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's what it does on its own. It adds these rectangle lights, which are just general downlights, and those just generally brighten up the space. They're directional in that they do go down, but they're not like a spotlight. So sometimes these do cause problems. Sometimes there's too much. And if you're getting a room where you're not having any shadowing and it's not looking realistic, it's kind of looking cartoony, it's because you don't have enough shadows and because there's too much of these. But you can adjust these. You can make them bigger, smaller, move them around. You can control their brightness over here. So sometimes I just get rid of them if it's too bright. You can always add another one. So over here is all of the light sources that you can add. So, and this is that rectangle light. So if you just need a general light coming in, you just drop it in like that. So if you've deleted one and you're like, oh no, now it's too dark, you can just add one back again. It's there, that's all that is, those general lights. And you can see like in these rooms where there was no light fixtures, it just dropped in some
ambient lighting.
Yeah, it's just sort of general ambient lighting. But then when you look in the 3D, these light fixtures look different. These are those rectangle lights. And in the windows, those are the rectangle lights as well. They're just rotated so that the light is shining in from the windows. So you can also adjust those too. If you've got a window that's too bright or blowing out your curtains or whatever it is, you can just get rid of those. You can just delete it, or you can
turn down the brightness.
Yeah, so I just undid. I put that one back. Or you can just adjust the brightness here too. You can also adjust the color temperature of any of these lights. So sometimes, to me, some of them they put in are way too warm. And so this one, it's sunlight, so they've got it at a very cool color temperature because that's the sunlight coming in. But if it was a dawn or a dusk or something where you wanted that more warm glow, you can change that color. And the same for your light fixtures. If you've got if you're trying to make it look, like a regular incandescent, you want that to be more warm. So like this one, see, they've got that one as like this kind of warm glowy color. As opposed to that cooler color. So you can adjust the color temperature here and the brightness, you can make them really, really bright. And you can also adjust, I don't know, there we go. So you can adjust the heights as well as those, and you can also rotate them. So if you wanted a wall wash, like if you've got an eyeball or something, doing a wall washer, you can do that. Or if you've got a table lamp, or if you've got like a floor lamp that faces up, anything, you can adjust this any which way that you want it to go. You can also adjust it, rotate it left, right, or X or Y or Z, either way. Okay, let's see. All right, what's next, Sarah? What am I missing?
Do you want to go ahead and check your test renders on?
Yeah. So I'm going to exit out of here, and it's going to save the little changes that I made. There it is.
Yeah, and it's not throwing any light at all from those track lights. So
that didn't work. That little experiment did not work out.
All right, so do you want to go back and go ahead and maybe delete those can lights, and we'll just show what the difference is with that?
Yeah. Where am I? I'm in the render window. Let's go out here. All right. So I'll just get rid of that because he did not help us at all. So here's what I'm going to do too. I'll leave one can. I'm just going to move him over, and I'll turn his brightness way up so we can see what the hotspot would look like. And then did it put a light source onto these two?
Just like a ambient rectangle light.
An ambient rectangle light. Have we had any questions on the lighting?
I think Lauren's getting to everything. Let me see.
Okay, so I quickly got back over here into my, let me go back to show you what I did. So it saved, after we did those lighting adjustments, it saved it here in a custom lighting setup for you. So every time you go back, you don't need to go back and select it again. It saves it here for you. So you just,
and you can rename those too.
Yes. But you click the little pencil to come in and edit it. And so once you've set up the lighting, it's not gonna change it again for you. See, it's still got those light sources where those cans were that I deleted. So if you go back and make changes, you have to come back in here and make changes as well. So yeah, it just has that ambient. So it did not get rid of those. So I will get rid of those myself. You guys, this was doing this to me earlier where it wouldn't let me delete stuff. So I don't know what is happening today. Let me go back to 2D.
2D. And from 2D, also you can, on the property toolbar on the right, you can adjust the height from there.
You can, yeah,
well.
right here. So, and then you should be able to see it here. If you can enlarge the 3D window so you can kind of see both at the same time, and then you can see that little light going up and down. And if, I will tell you, if you have it up into the, if it pokes up into the ceiling like that, it won't work anymore. It'll block it.
Yeah.
So make sure it's below.
Like
and
6
objects
is usually what I do.
What's that?
I keep all my rectangle lights, if I add anything, about 6 inches below the ceiling height. It seems to work really well.
Yeah, yeah. And you can, when you adjust these, like if you have a table lamp or something, and you can adjust these and play around with the shadows and how it makes the shadows fall. So you can get into it pretty technically. So let's see. So I'm going to take this one and I'm just going to move it over where that can line is. And then I'm going to turn its brightness way up, because sometimes this just happens on its own without doing a custom. There'll be a weird, crazy hotspot. And so I'll show you what that looks like. And then, yeah, it did not add a light source for those, which may be okay for this.
Yeah.
Okay, so was I going to adjust anything else in here? Let's see.
No, I think that was it.
Yeah.
Just do test render.
All right.
All right. So while that's rendering, does anybody have any questions? Looks like Lauren's on top of all of it.
Lauren's fast at answering questions.
I know.
Let's see. What else can I show you guys? Oh, let me show you something else.
Marianne, so you have to go in for every enterprise model that you put in, every single model, you have to go into the material editor and apply the materials I've set for it. This has to happen for every enterprise thing. So it's not a glitch. It's not, you're not doing anything wrong, just skipping a step. So that'll take care of that. Sorry, Annalie.
That's all right. Yeah, no, get the questions. So let me show you something else in your editing mode in the lights. I like to start in 2D for this. This line right here, that's the sun. So you can go in here and adjust the sun settings here. So this right here changes the orientation. So essentially this is like north, south, east, west pretty much. So if you know that this is a west facing room or whatever, however, if you know where your orientation is of your building. So there's two different ways that I use the sun setting. Sometimes I try to set it realistically if I'm working on a real project and I want to see what it's really going to look like at a certain time of day. Sometimes I adjust it just for visuals. Like, I don't care. It's not realistic. It's not really where it's going to sit. It has nothing to do with the reality of, geolocation or anything like that. It's just to make pretty shadows. So play around with that if you're working on a space, because sometimes we want those really long shadows to come through the window and look really pretty on the floor. Sometimes we don't. So this adjustment adjusts. So if I wanted the sun to come in through this window, I could adjust it like that. So that sun is coming through these windows over here. And then this adjusts the height, which is hard to see in 2D.
But that's essentially like your time of day. So noon would be at the top, and morning to evening would be lower down. And then there's also like kind of a little cheat, like if you just want sun in every single room, there's a toggle for that.
Right here. Sunlight projects into every room. Yeah, so if you've got multiple rooms in your project and you don't want to mess with this, then there you go. So I usually adjust the sun settings just because I really like to play around with the shadows and make interesting shadows come through, because that also can help with the realism. So I just wanted to point that out. So what did we change that to sunlight in every room? Should we just leave it that way and see how that looks?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So that test render should be done. And hopefully you guys can see too how many test renders that we do through this process. I'm constantly, every time I do something, I run a test render to see what it's doing. I never wait. I want to know what's happening in my camera. Okay, so this is the last one that we did. And was this the one where I turned up the light really bright? It's all looking the same. Oh no, this is it. So I actually turned it way up. So you can see where it cast the light here, but it didn't make a hotspot like I was trying to make it do. But
no, but if you click between that one and the one before, you can see how blown out the lighting is on the floor.
Yeah. Right here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so that's something you just adjust with your brightness. And then there's also when you come over here. So what did I I don't know why it's not letting me select anything in 3D today, but you can choose, there's different styles of light here too. Some are more, some are softer, and some are a little more harsh. So you can see, so you can play around with the different types of light. You can see like this one has a very strong downlight, where like this one is much softer. So you can also have control over that. And then these are fairly new. These lights,
those literally just popped up, I think, last week.
Yeah, so I've been playing around like this one. These are the volumetric type lights. So like I use this one, and it comes in blue, but I changed it comes in like bright blue, like you're in a nightclub or something. I don't know. But what this does, this makes like, I put it at the window and faced it in, and it makes like sun rays coming in through the room. It's really cool. Have you played around with this one, Sarah?
Not yet.
Yeah, so what I did was I lined it up with my sun angle, so that the sun was coming in and then this was coming in, and it made, but see, I don't know who wants it to be bright blue, but we're not doing bright blue. We're gonna make it that color. And we'll see how that comes in.
Exciting.
It is. And I know that, lighting is something that people are, struggling with. And I just want to say that when it just takes experimenting. You have to just get in here and experiment, turn lights up, turn lights down, move them over.
Render.
What's that? Did I hit render?
No. There we go.
Sorry. But it really just takes experimenting. And yes, it takes some time, but once you kind of figure out the way that settings is, because you'll start to figure out, okay, a 500 brightness is pretty bright. A 95 is pretty low. So you'll start to kind of learn those things and figure them out, and you'll get faster and faster with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does take time, but the way that this program sets it up for you is pretty amazing. It really is. All right, we have just a few minutes left. Did we have anything else that I need to go over?
No.
Did I cover all the lighting?
Yep. I think we all just want to see that test render now with this.
Yeah. I know.
Was there any other questions, you guys, before we wrap up? Did anybody have anything that's pressing? No? Lauren was so on top of it.
I don't know. She is very fast at answering questions.
All right, test render. Lighting workflow again. Dawn, that was 30 minutes. The workflow is really unique to the space and to what you're wanting to achieve.
I can just, okay, we'll come back to, so Dawn, so when you come into your space, you first select one of these presets and you do a test render, and then you see if you like it as it is, and you see which one fits the mood, which color, temperature, and all of that fits the mood. If it's good, go with it. Don't make any changes, roll with it, just render away. If you need to make some adjustments, if something's too bright, you need to change the sun angle, you need to add a light where it didn't recognize one of your light fixtures and you want to turn it on, then you go over here to customize and you choose the one that you like and you go into customize. And that's where we've been with those yellow squares and all of that, and you make the adjustments. And that's it. That's the entire workflow for lighting. And you just have to experiment with it. You just have to adjust and experiment. Yeah. And sometimes,
how many windows you have affects everything. And you guys, in all honesty, if you can use the natural lighting over adding lights, you will always have a more realistic rendering.
Yeah.
I don't turn lights on in any of my renderings. And if you look at any editorial images of houses in like Architectural Digest and places like that, the lights are always turned off. So don't feel like you have to turn all the lights on. Like it doesn't add anything to your rendering unless of course it's a night view. You have to have lights on.
That's a whole other thing. To set up night lighting is a whole other thing.
Yeah.
But you can
We'll
see
have to do that the month after next then.
do a nighttime stuff. Yeah, that's a whole that's next level.
Yeah.
But you can see here's that volumetric light that I put over by the window, and I didn't really play with any of its adjustments. It's way too bright, but you could see it makes this pretty cool
But the
effect.
potential is so cool.
Yeah. It has some pretty cool effect.
And that is something you guys, if you do use, you want to be very like judicial with it. You don't want those coming in every single window. You know, you got to also learn when to self-edit with stuff and not just use every effect available to you.
Yeah, that also plays into your realism as well. This kind of lighting is realistic when the sun is also, you need to see, I don't have it aligned with my sun. See, the sun is coming in here and this is coming in here. So that's not working. That doesn't look realistic. Now, that just really does look like a club light. Like a laser light.
It's
Yeah.
like one of those sensor lights somebody just walked by.
Yeah. So, you know, I would use this, I would angle it to match my sun angle, and it gives you that line in your customizing so you can see where your sun angle is, so you can line that up with it. I just use this in another rendering. So, and then I turned the brightness way, way, way down. So it just gives that kind of light, like it looks like it's coming through the leaves of the trees.
Yeah, like you're seeing the rays kind of with the dust particles, like all the yucky stuff that makes photographs beautiful. So
yeah.
All right, you guys, if there is any other questions, Lauren, is there anything that we need to address before we go?
No, I don't think so. I think everything's been covered either by Facebook tags or, talking about it.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, so you guys, we'll have the replay uploaded within like a day or so. So watch for that if you need to, go back and review anything. So thank you guys all for showing up, and we'll see you next month for this.
See you guys.
All right, bye.
Bye.